Yesterday, we talked a little bit about ITAD services, but from a certification standpoint. So what is it? What do enterprises look for in terms of the credentials and qualifications of an ITAD provider? And so today we're going to talk about empowering those services. What is it? What are the underlying foundational things that we have to have in place as an ITAD provider to drive those, to enable delivery of those services? So we're going to talk about. I'll do a quick overview here, but really want to get into the conversations from Dave, Bill, and Glenn on erasure and imaging and some of the automation software that Dave will talk about, ERP systems and those systems that are really mission critical for being able to deliver the accountability and reporting that are needed for ITAD services. We're going to listen to Glenn talk about on-site services and what's necessary to be able to provide data erasure, data destruction, packing and shipping, decommissioning kind of services that are actually on-site in the client's environment. So. And then we'll do some Q&A. So we're going to delay the Q&A to the end. You can use the chat box to go ahead and ask your question as we go, but we're not going to answer many of those questions along the way. We'll wait until the end and kind of move through this quickly, or at least try. All right, so jumping in, just a quick introduction for myself. I'm RIKE SANDLIN with River Vista Partners. That's my IT services consulting business. So I'm helping people like you figure out how to transform your business, figure out how to grow strategically, whether it's organically or through M&A activity. Talk about operational excellence, really look at your operations, your facilities, your security, your people, your go-to-market strategies, all of those things, and how to scale. I am an ex-operator, so I ran an ITAD business for a number of years. I was a partner in that business, wound up selling that business to private equity after growing it. So, and my experience is in delivering ITAD services to large enterprises, to the corporate environment. So that's our focus today, is what do we need to do to enable that. So what is ITAD? I showed this slide yesterday in the certification panel, but it's IT asset disposition for those of you that aren't familiar with it. It's about outsourced services for enterprises. When an enterprise needs to retire equipment, they need help. And they need a professional to come in and do that to help mitigate their risks, whether it's data security risk or other types of compliance risk, environmental risk, etc. But ultimately, it's their brand that they're protecting. And so, in order to do that, you've got to have a certain set of services, including reverse logistics, data sanitization, testing and resale, proper recycling, and this audit trail to provide them the reporting that they need to reconcile their system. There's Glenn. We see your face now. And so these services are, this is kind of a core set of services that ITAD service providers have. There's a lot of variations, a lot of options to customize those. There's additional services that can be brought to bear, but this is sort of that core set that enterprises are looking for. There's also ways to differentiate yourself as an ITAD provider within these services. But the key here is, how do you deliver those services professionally? So there's a lot of companies out there that say they're an ITAD or say that they can provide these services, whether it's data sanitization or testing or resale or recycle. There's a lot of, the population of companies that claim that are many thousands of companies can claim that, but very few can really deliver enterprise class services. And so that's what we're here to talk about today, is if we're going to provide reverse logistics and decommissioning on site, then how does that work? If we're going to provide data sanitization, what software and systems are we using? Do we have automation in those systems to be able to empower testing as we're doing the data erasure? Do we have the ability to erase drives on site if a client needs it? What's the proper recycling processes? And do we have control of those processes through an effective ERP system And throughout all of these processes, do we have the ability to capture data about our process? Do we have the ability to capture and control what's going on as an operator? Do we have that visibility, that transparency into our process that an ERP system provides? So I'm stealing a little bit of thunder from my panel. I don't want to do that because they're all going to be great experts at this. The panel today is Dave Make with SoftThinks. They are all about data erasure, testing, and automation capabilities in their software. Bill Blagan with IQ Reseller, cloud and on-prem ERP systems. I believe I got that right, Bill. And Glenn Laga, who is president of Guardian Data Destruction. Glenn's claim to fame is he is a pioneer in this industry, along with especially in terms of data destruction and data security, especially on site. And so Glenn's going to talk a bit about that.
Thank you, RIKE. Thank you, Joe and Arthur, for allowing me to make the presentation. I just want to recognize a lot of our customers who are sponsors, and thank you for your support and partnership. We can go right into the slides if you want. Guardian Data Destruction has been around since the inception of on-site shredding and on-site erasure. We're the early pioneers of the industry, where we were able to go and deliver a service that seems to be back then just starting to blossom, but now we're seeing a huge growth in the market. As everybody knows, data security for us equals data destruction. And 30% of all the data breaches came from not properly using end-of-life assets. And that was a study done by Gartner a few years ago. Next. So another study that was done, which was by NAID, and everybody should know who NAID is in the industry, and they're the National Association for Information Destruction, and they're the watchdog regulator in the industry for data destruction, as well as paper and electronic devices now. And they did a study last year, and they found out that the 40% of the devices they bought off the internet had personal data on it. So that in itself lends it to providing data destruction on site. Next slide. So these are some of the companies that had security breaches from 2016 to 2020. And if they're your customer, you don't want them to be on this list. So by providing data destruction, whether it's erasure or shredding, they'll protect them from security breaches with end-of-life devices. Next slide. Why Guardian Data Destruction? I guess there's a multiple bunch of reasons, and the most important is that we're exclusively servicing the ITAD, VAR, and channel industry. We do not have any direct relationships with any customers, and we do not provide ITAD services. So all our services are done on site at the customer location, and it's a turnkey solution so that you do not have multiple vendors going in and providing different services to your client. We have the most comprehensive suite of data destruction. We have transportation, decommissioning. So from the desktop to the grave, we can help you out with that. Again, early pioneer, and our culture and our training and what we do with our employees, to us, is the most important thing, because we put so much emphasis on training, because we understand that we are an extension of your organization, providing critical services in front of your customer. So for us, the training, the way the guys react and behave in front of the customers is paramount to us. And we are AAA NAID certified, and all our equipment meets all the DoD equipment and this processes. Next slide. So services. We provide on-site data destruction. The data destruction that we provide is shredding, erasure, degaussing, mutilization, and pulverization. We can get into that in certain detail, but I just want to focus on the erasure right now. What we're finding that the erasure is a very important service when you're having equipment that is high value and leased equipment, where you have to return the hard drive intact back to the leasing company, or there's remarketing value in the hard drive because it's a larger hard drive. So our erasure service is done at the customer location. We can do enterprise style, tying it right into a server or array. And we have multiple platforms that we use to meet everybody's specific. We're not forcing somebody to use one specific platform. Mutilization and pulverization. Pulverization is that we can take the shredded down to sand and powder size particles. And then once the data destruction is done, we can come on site and pack the equipment and then transport it to your recycler, back to your facility, to a remarketer, wherever it has to go, from any location, any place, any size, anywhere in the world. And then our largest growing segment of our business is our data center decommissioning. We'll go into a data center, we'll pull out the racks, we'll de-rack the equipment, we'll take the cables down, seismic racking, cable removal, tray removal. We've done it all. And we're averaging about one a week for a data center decommissioning. So, and that's anywhere in the United States. Our newest service is lift and shift, is when we're taking live data on live equipment and moving it from one location to another. Most of them are going from data center to data center or company hosted environment to a new data center or host. Next. So on-site shredding, if you see down in the middle, in the lower part of the slide, you'll have a dime, and this is a pulverization. So this meets the highest standard of security produced by the Department of Defense. So it's a 2 millimeter shred size, which is like powder or sand, and we're able to destroy any of the devices, whether they be tapes, PDAs, cell phones, tablets, credit card swipe machines, thumb drives. So in order to achieve the 2 millimeter, you can only do that with solid state devices. With the conventional hard drives, we just have new technology that's going to be rolled out in 3 months where you can bring it down to a 10 millimeter squared device. So we can take a solid state hard drive to 2 millimeter and a regular hard drive down to 10 millimeter. And 10 millimeter is about the size of your pinky. One thing is that if anybody wants samples of the shred, we have these samples that we can send out to you, so you can leave them on your desk or leave them at customer sites, so that there's just a little leave behind for you guys. No charge. Next slide. So data center decommissioning again. We've done data centers that we pulled out over 200 racks. We've done cable mining underneath the floor, pulled out cable mining. So we've got the experience. We've got the teams. Our teams know how to deal with audibles, because every time we're on site, there's always a new challenge that we have and an obstacle that has not been foreseen. So our guys have the experience and can handle it, so you can rest assured that we're going to get it done right. Next slide. So our hard drive shred trucks are located all over the United States. The way to vision it, this is a live map, so it's constantly changing. So, for example, last year, at the end of the year in New Mexico, we had a 1.2 million tape shred. So we moved 4 trucks into that location to accommodate that. So it'll be done much quicker and faster. And, the flexibility of having the trucks to move throughout the United States gives us a lot of local presence on a national scale. And then on a global, which is our next slide, the global partners, everything outside the United States are partners. They're not our own equipment, but they've been vetted. I served on the board of directors for NAID for quite a few years, and we made these strategic alliances through NAID, so they're all AAA NAID certified, and they're well vetted. So you have our vetting process to make sure that they're quality partners. And our next slide, for the VARs, MSPs that are not selling the service, and again, it's data destruction as a service or data security as a service. Why promote Guardian? It's something new if you don't already selling it to discuss with your customers. So your customers, you have something new to bring to the table to them. You become viewed as a true cradle to grave solution provider. And you'll see more opportunities, whether they're ready to do a refresh cycle or something in their needs. And most important to me is that you earn margin. So Guardian Data Destruction Services, you could add anywhere between 10 and 30% margin to our services and still be competitive in the market. And we give you guys great support. Quality RFPs, standardized pricing, standardized service nationwide, and good collateral material. So for our final and last slide, we've developed a Data Destruction 101 ebook that is available to anybody that wants to download it off our website. It discusses and gives certain details on every different type of data destruction service that's available out there, whether it's on-site or off-site. And it gives you some knowledge so that you can speak intelligently with your clients on where the market's going. What we're seeing right now in the industry is that more and more companies want to be able to do on-site data destruction because they want no risk and in-transit risk. And whether it's erasure so that the ITAD players can remarket that drive is very important, or it can be the absolute destruction of a device or of a hard drive. So having that ability and flexibility, one solution provider, and picking it up and delivering it provides you a secure chain of custody during the process. And I thank you for doing that.
Great. Thank you, Glenn. Great job. And let me just echo some of the things that Glenn said is that this is a critical service that, if you're in the ITAD business or you're selling ITAD services, you will at some point be asked to provide on-site services. You will be asked, you'll have a client that says, hey, I need help on site, or I need, I can't allow drives to go off-site with data on them. Those requests do come in, and it's great to have a partner like Guardian Data Destruction to handle that for you. I've used Guardian in the past, and they've done a great job. Glenn, from Guardian's perspective, what's the engagement process? Let's say somebody has an on-site need. What's involved in scheduling or getting a truck to show up on site to shred or erase the drives?
It begins with signing an NDA and becoming a partner. And after that is done, one of our salesperson will walk you through the first couple of jobs. Pricing is pretty much standard throughout the United States, being that we're a service provider for the entire industry. We have to be like Switzerland. So we have to be kind of neutral in our pricing. So it's fair to everybody. And we maintain that relationship. And then once it's done, it comes over to dispatch. Dispatch then schedules it. We have certain SLAs that we share with the customers so that they know we'll be on site and committed to the customer at a certain time. We check for certificates of insurance to enter or use it on the property, and then we execute. And then you can determine whether the shred goes back to you if you're an ITAD or a recycler, or if you want us to recycle it locally. It's up to you. It's not our product, and we're just your feet on the street for all the on-site services.
Great comment. And Glenn, you also mentioned that you're NAID certified, and I know there's stringent security requirements around that certification. Do you background check your employees, and what kind of assurance can we give a client that the people coming on site are going to behave properly?
Correct. That's for us. That's the most important thing in our hiring process. That once we have a candidate, we do not only a background check on him on a national level. We also look at his driver's license, make sure that it's clean and there's no major infractions on it. And then they go through a bonding process that we then certify them through a bond service where they're a bonded employee on site. Everybody's in uniform, everybody's clean shaven. They look the part of a security professional, and we have the AAA NAID certification, which means that our employees have to meet their standards as well.
Great, thank you. All right, well, I know we're at the end of our time here. Dave, Bill, Glenn, I really appreciate your time and support of the event, and I know Joe does as well. Thank you for joining us, Joe. And if anyone has questions for this panel after the event, feel free to reach out. I know that they're all happy to talk with you.